I'm Carolyn Parrs, communicator, coach, and host of Just Power, a podcast about creating a clean energy future without leaving anyone behind. Join me as we explore the technologies, policies, and human stories that can make clean energy not just sustainable for our planet, but accessible for everyone. Welcome to Season 3 finale of Just Power. Hi, I'm your host, Carolyn Parrs. Wow, 3 full seasons of thoughtful leaders and advocates helping us make sure that energy equity and affordability, accessibility are at the heart of our energy transition. In today's episode, I'm going to highlight 5 of those sharp minds from this season as we continue to shine a light on the people and the possibilities behind a fair, clean energy future for all. So here they are.
We heard this over and over again last week from these great utilities that joined us. Communicate and educate and listen. Listen to what your customers are saying. Listen to what they want. Listen to what your communities want. Be in the community and meaningfully engage with them. Don't just ask for something from your customers. Figure out what you can do for them. Make it a two-way street. Because if we don't understand our customers and what they want and need, and we come up with we install infrastructure in their neighborhoods. We launch programs to serve them, but we haven't figured out what they want and what they need from their utility. Our programs are going to fail, and we're not going to have a better relationship with these critical folks that we serve, and that the utilities increasingly rely on. So, I think that communication piece is essential. That engagement piece is essential. Internal and external education, getting everyone on the same page is going to make our energy transition a more resilient one, a more affordable one that we can all feel like we're a part of.
I'm talking about the utilities that have now a responsibility to supply these data centers with their increased load while also making sure that their ratepayers or customers on a residential and a people level are not being unnecessarily burdened. So I would want to see, if we're going to talk about a all of the above strategy, that DG, be allowed to add to that mix. But at the same time, some things, some entrenched interests still persist and we'll want to block that. Most folks, they understand that these things are big, but they don't have the frame of reference to the size and the amount of resources that they really are. So, I think exactly to your point, it is a responsibility of a municipality or the authority having jurisdiction to recognize those implications and, put up some guardrails and some ways that communities can start to make up for some of those externalities that they're going to eventually end up paying for if they're not careful. So I encourage communities to be, just as you're being proactive and having these conversations. And it's not about a cash grab. It's recognizing that we're not in this millennia. Let's work together instead of fostering more exclusion and exploitation. And that's just about fairness.
Utility commissions have a very effective way of protecting their customers. It's called prudency hearings. And so if a utility builds something, they typically have to get the utility commission's approval to construct it, but that's not a blank check. After they finish building it, they have to come back to the regulators and say, here's why we should increase our prices, because this was prudently constructed, it was necessary and reasonable, and all of that sort of thing. And just starting around the 1970s, no coincidence, with nuclear power, when you saw massive cost overruns, that's when regulators started getting very active with prudency reviews. And so understanding that first, however many large loads are being talked about, not all of them will be built first. And then second, regulators do have a weapon or a tool, not a weapon, it's a tool to protect customers. And a third element of the regulatory system is there are consumer councils. There are state agencies that are licensed and mandated and funded to act to protect the interests of small and medium customers, right? ExxonMobil has plenty of lobbyists and lawyers, right? Meta doesn't need any protection at the Utility Commission. It's the little guys.
I'm all for transitioning to cleaner sources of energy, but I am super sensitive to people in their jobs. And in the Farmington area, miners lost their jobs, power plant people lost their jobs, and those were good paying jobs with benefits. Same thing happened with Plains Electric's coal plant, which ended up being acquired by Tri-State. Those jobs were lost. And so I'm really sensitive to people that say we need to stop doing this tomorrow and start doing this, because you are impacting people's lives. And many of those workers come from multi-generational families that work in those industries. In clean energy, the jobs are much more in construction or back office work. And not to say those jobs aren't important. We are really expanding in that area, especially here in New Mexico, in job creation in those areas. But once again, I always just wanted to be sensitive to people who could or did lose their jobs in these energy transitions, because I often don't think we think through them enough. And I think the people that push for these transition policies often haven't gone and met a Navajo coal miner or a gas plant worker to get that perspective, that personal perspective.
One area that I would say that kind of focuses on, or that utilities are doing, is something they call community solar, right? So if I'm living in a state or a market and I can put solar on my house or on my building, then I have a benefit for that project, right? I'm now saving money, ideally because I put solar on my building or my house. And so that's benefiting me. Now, there might be some additional benefits to the grid or society by me putting solar on my house. But what if I live in an apartment and I can't put solar on my house? Or what if I live in a house and I'm renting, or I have a house and there's a gigantic tree that shades my roof, or whatever the reason is. So that's an area where utilities and states have created or are creating community solar programs. And that's where individuals or businesses or even cities or municipalities can buy into a community solar project. And now they are not owning, well, I shouldn't say that always. The majority of cases, they still don't own that solar, but they get a discount by participating in that community solar program. And so I think over 20, maybe 25 states now have community solar programs.
Community solar projects are now in 44 of our states, including DC. And 24 of those states have formal state policy programs. So yay, USA! And yay, you, for joining us. Thank you so much for joining me on our finale of season 3. And if these conversations are moving to you, consider being part of our family, right? By subscribing to Just Power. It's free, right? You could do it right now. And it would mean the world to me. And help us keep amazing guests coming on, like Dr. Tony Reams, former presidential appointee and pioneering voice in energy justice. He was our very first guest on Just Power guest number 1, and he's coming back in season 4, and he's going to has a lot to say about what has gone on and going on right now. But first, we're going to take a break and then come back strong for season 4. So thank you again for joining us. And until then, stay safe, stay well, and know that we're all in this together. Thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe to Just Power wherever you get your podcasts. And if you really loved it, leave us a review and tell everyone you know about our podcast. It's going to take all of us to create a clean energy future that leaves no one behind.